Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. My name's Doug Cunnington, and in this episode, we're talking to Bennett again. So he was on the show a few months back, and he was a college senior. I think Bennett, have you graduated now?
Yeah, I graduated last week.
Cool,
hmm
congratulations. So
Thank you.
you have been busy working on a few sites. We're going to talk about the growth of the site that we chatted about before, and I was getting some stats from you. So in February it made about 1,700 bucks. In March it jumped up to 6,795, and then April 5,900, which is pretty
Mhm.
amazing, the trajectory of the site. And of course it's kind of up and down and maybe a little volatile, but that's pretty amazing, especially as you're about to graduate and you're like, man, I got everything figured out here. So that's very cool. And we're also going to talk about AI writers, and you've been testing and doing some very interesting stuff, including working with a friend of yours to start a site in April. It's only about a month old. It's already getting some traffic and ranking, and you're using AI tools to do a lot of the content. So I'm excited to get into it. Um, just curious. You just graduated,
hmm
so what are your plans for the summer, for the fall? Are you getting a job right away? What's going on with you?
Yeah, so for the summer, my brother's getting married, so I'm doing that, going to the wedding, which will be fun. I'm traveling to Honduras, which will also be fun. And then in July, I'm moving to San Francisco. So if you want to connect when I'm out there, that'd be great. Anyone who's listening to this. And then I'm working at Adobe next year, so that'll be pretty cool. I'll be a business analyst and I'll have a
Awesome,
full-time job in person.
cool, very awesome. And have you spent a lot of time in the Bay Area there?
I spent maybe like 2 vacations there, so it's been fun. I have a family out there.
Oh, cool. All right, so
Uh-huh.
that'll make the transition a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm
Very cool.
excited.
Tons of good beer out there, wine, of course, but I'm a beer person, so
Mm,
okay.
that's awesome.
So let's talk about your site and the one that has grown so much. So as I mentioned before, you made like 1,700 bucks in February, and then what happened? You actually sent me a message shortly after the episode went live, and you were like, traffic blew up. So yeah, what
Yeah,
happened? And walk us through when you first realized that you were going to earn a lot more.
sure. So I was like one night looking at my AdSense reports, and I saw that for the day it had jumped up to almost $200. And I was like, is this a bug or something? Basically, what had happened is I started to rank for a keyword that had like 25 million searches per month. I didn't rank on the actual page, like in the search, but I ranked in the people also ask as one of the top questions. And so that gave me a lot of traffic. And because of that, I was able to get way more ad clicks and way more traffic. And it was really cool to see that traffic spike after all my hard work.
And how many searches again? What did you say?
I think on Ahrefs it said it gets 25 million per month with a keyword difficulty of 93.
Okay.
So that
Yeah,
is pretty hard, but might have gotten lucky on that one.
sure. Well, and I'm just curious. I mean, let's dissect the article a little bit. Like, did you do anything special with it? Is it long form? Is it really good? Like, how do you describe it?
I guess a couple things about it are it is long form. It was already ranking really well for a while, and it was ranking really well for its keyword and a lot of other like long tail keywords. It had a lot of comments on it, so that could have shown like Google that there was some interest among the customers. There was also FAQ page schema, so that means that like if people had a question and there was an answer on the page, it showed Google that. Um, I think that the article had been around for over a year, and yeah, I guess a lot of those SEO factors that seemed like it was all perfect checklist.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I wonder. I guess part of it is like timing and just a little luck every now and then, because the
hmm
things you described are interesting, but probably not. that unique, right? There must be hundreds of other articles. Like you
Yeah.
probably looked at a lot of the competition, like probably a lot of them were almost equal in quality, would you
Hmm.
say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say
Okay.
that.
Yeah, it's tough. Like once you get to a certain point, like it's pretty everything's high quality, right? Everyone's looking at the same stuff. So you mentioned it was long form. How many
Hmm.
words roughly would you say?
Um, Probably like for my content, maybe like 1,500 and more, but with all the comments on there, I'm sure that brought it up to like 3,000 above or something.
Okay.
Because there was a lot. Yeah, probably like I only show 25 per page, but there was
Sure.
like 3 pages of comments.
Okay. Wow. And you have a variety of revenue sources, right? So you mentioned AdSense and you saw the
Hmm.
revenue jump. What are the other revenue sources for the site?
The other is Amazon affiliates. So like in February, as I said, I made 800 from Amazon affiliates. But then, as an example, in April, I made 1,500. So even with the traffic spike, I also saw that people were like, I guess, engaging more with the links. And it's probably just because when you have more visitors, there's more people to click, and then the
Sure.
conversion rate generates a higher traffic or higher um, number
Just
of
revenue.
purchases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And if people didn't listen to the first interview, you should go back. But this is on a site where you basically didn't choose a niche, right? There's many different
Hmm.
products, and it seems to be working out. No exact question there, but can you comment a little bit on like that approach just in general?
Yeah, I guess it's hard in the fact that you don't have anything to like specifically write about that you're not like stuck with. So it makes keyword research a little bit more difficult because it's like, where do I start?
Yep.
But then on the other hand, you can really do whatever you want. So if you find something to be interesting, then you can go after it, or you can look up like really popular keywords and just try to rank for them, even if they're not in your niche. Um,
And it was so good to have you on the show because I mean, it's counter to what many people would say, right? So I was like, you know, you want to choose a niche so you can have some topical relevancy around it. I do live streams almost every week, and a lot of times people ask about content clusters and putting this stuff together. And you know, there's
mhm,
paid tools to do that. And the fact that you have random different products and no clear niche, you have no opportunity for that same kind of interlinking or topical clusters or anything like that, which
mhm.
just flies in the face of like a lot of the common wisdom out there. So very interesting stuff. Now, that said, did you go and analyze some of the data and see like, oh, I'm ranking pretty well for a couple of these like sort of related keywords, and then try to find more keywords around those topics?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Like based off of this keyword, I was able to be like, okay, what are the other people also ask questions? And I tried to rank for those as well. I haven't had the success for that yet, but um, I think in the comments, some people were like, "Oh, I need help with this," and so that actually gave me an idea to do an article, and that article is performing well as well.
Okay.
So
And how much content is on the site?
I think right now it's probably at like 150 posts, but I guess we can bring that up later. But I'm had someone put a bunch of content on a new site that I'm migrating to.
Okay. Gotcha. So about
Mhm.
150 articles, and then are you publishing on a regular basis on this site?
Not right now. I'm kind of working on some other sites just because this one's doing so well. But
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to. I'm making more content for the backlog, I think.
Perfect. And then we'll start wrapping up and talk about the new sites and new projects and stuff like that. So you have 150 articles. You're not publishing too much. And any other details on that site?
One thing that's kind of, I guess, scary in one sense is like, you know, how they say to not put all your eggs in one basket. That this site also flies in the face of that because I think about like for ads, 90% of the revenue is coming from one article.
Okay.
So if that article drops, then my AdSense is going to drop, and so will my earnings. But it's been a
Okay.
good run so far. I definitely will try to diversify later on.
Sure.
But mhm.
And I guess one thing I didn't ask is the traffic stat. So just broadly, you don't have to give exact numbers, but about how many visitors per month or users or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's about 50,000. I can try to think like for I applied for Mediavine, which is a competitor for AdSense,
Mhm.
and they ask you how many visitors you've had in the last 60 days or 30 days, and mine was 60,000.
Okay,
But in March, I actually had 80,000 page views, which is pretty cool.
awesome. Very good. Yeah, I mean, diversifying is good, especially if it's coming all to one page. But I mean, you got to take it while you can, and you don't want to get too distracted. That said,
Hmm.
you are working on multiple different things, but I guess you have some flexibility to do that, which is great. So before we move on, yeah, like I said, anything else on the first site there?
Not really. I think maybe I am lucky, and that's definitely a big part of it. But I'm also thankful. It's been
Yeah,
great, and it's
pretty
been really
cool.
helpful to have that all that income. Yeah.
And if I remember right, the revenue that the this initial site brought in helped you pay off your student loans and stuff like that.
Uh huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very awesome. So let's move on to using the AI tool. And I think we can talk about the site that you're working on with a friend, right? Is that the right place to go
Hmm.
to? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And as we transition, I'll mention we're going to mention a couple tools here. I haven't used them myself. I will put a couple affiliate links because I'm an affiliate marketer and that's what we do. Bennett has used the tools and he's going to describe how he's used them, and you can check them out. I'm not necessarily endorsing them for publishing content, but people constantly ask me about these AI tools. So we're going to talk about them. So
Let's
let's
go.
hear about it. Um, Tell us about this site that you're working on with a friend. We won't reveal the niche or the site or anything, but yeah, just walk us through how it got started. It's only 1 month old, right?
Yeah. Just 1 month old. So as a friend, they had a birthday, so I gave this site to them as a birthday present. It was pretty fun to make. It was
Yeah.
pretty simple too. But as you know, a content or a website's not going to survive without any content. And I've had a lot of experiences where friends get like demotivated when trying to do this because it's like it doesn't succeed, and it's because they don't have enough content on their website. So we were looking up ways to do it. I've tried Upwork in the past to like generate a lot of content, but it's costs a lot of money. Like even if you spend $20 per article, which is relatively low, you still end up paying a lot in the end. So we started to use an AI writer. We started with Jasper. So Jasper AI, they recently rebranded from Jarvis, and that's because Disney came after them. Um, Tony Stark has an AI called Jarvis, so they got in trouble for that.
Mm.
But Jasper's great. Basically, you can do two things. The first is like you give it a prompt and you like give it an article title and keywords, and you can just click compose and it'll like generate a couple sentences, and then you can keep doing that and it'll keep generating sentences. Or you can generate paragraphs. So like the way that I've used it is I've given it an article as an example, like what are some things to do in my area, and then I actually have a couple recommendations. So I put like in the paragraph generator, I put the first recommendation and I have it write a paragraph about that. And then I move on to the next recommendation. And I just do that for a bunch. And so like normally it probably would have taken me like a couple days to write a thing about like top 20 things to do in my area. But with Jasper, it took me about 30 minutes, which is awesome.
Okay. And then when you get the output,
Hmm.
how good is it? How much editing do you have to do?
It's actually pretty good. Yeah, the readability score and like the actual human comprehension is great. Sometimes it can be repetitive, but there's a setting where you can like type in 3 stars and it won't repeat anything that's already mentioned. But I was showing it to people, like my mom, and she was like, "No way!" Like an AI actually wrote that, and it was pretty cool because she could just not discern it. One a little bit bad part is I found a GPT-2 output detector and I copied some of it into it. and it was able to detect some of the time, like it said 90% fake. But I also put my own content into it, and it also said like 90% fake.
Yeah.
So it might just be the way that affiliate marketers talk. Like when you say, "Do you want a really good deal on this product that is selling hot in 2022? Check out the
Right.
link below." Like that sounds fake.
I've heard you'll have to send me the link to that detector site because
Hmm.
I'm like, that would be, I shouldn't even say it because one, well, I shouldn't start new things, but basically you could just have a bullshit site up that says
Hmm.
like somewhere between 0 and 100% fake and always aim like sort of in the middle. And the thing is, like you said, you put in your own content and it was like, this is like 90% AI or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
you you don't have to be you don't have to be right. It's like predicting the weather. Sorry,
Hmm.
meteorologists out there, but like you could just broadly make a claim. So you probably get a lot of traffic on your website.
True.
And it
That
doesn't
would be a
even
good
have to
idea.
do anything. So,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
okay. So you're using Jasper, you're able to write content, and you say you do it on a paragraph basis.
I found that that has really good output. Yeah, but
Okay.
I've also used it where you just click compose, and that helps to like kind of more with the transition and not with the like the bulk of the content.
Okay. And I haven't used that tool before. I have talked to a couple people and it sounds like you can give it maybe like a bullet list of facts and then it'll write
Hmm.
the pros and the transition and all that stuff. Is that right? And have you
Yeah,
used
that's
the
also
tool like that?
correct.
Okay.
I've also used it like that. Like one time, especially if you don't have anything in mind, like let's say you're doing a product review and like about the best boots, you can do what I do with the paragraph generator and like give it the specific products, like write about this brand, write about this brand. But what you can also do is click compose and it will auto recommend stuff. And sometimes it's auto recommended good products, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Um,
And
like you,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I just gave it the prompt like best boots. I copied and pasted some sort of intro paragraph from another article, and then it like re paraphrases it and makes it sound good, and then lists out similar products.
Okay.
So it's pretty advanced. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you said the output's pretty good. Sometimes it takes some editing, sometimes it's a little redundant.
Hmm.
And overall, though, can you like create a site essentially just using Jasper, for example?
I think you definitely could. If you want it to be like really top tier, like the Spruce or a Tech Radar type of site, you're definitely going to need human input because it's not as good at like the technical stuff. Um, but I still think that you could definitely get away with it. But then also to be a devil's advocate, Google has a penalty against AI content, and like the Jasper CEO even said, we don't endorse using all automated content. Like you should definitely go in and edit it and add your own sentences. It's supposed to be a tool to help you aid your writing, is what he
Mhm.
said, but you could also use it to just fully generate content.
Sure. And I was just chatting with Monica Lent earlier today, and she's the founder of Affiliate, but she has a travel blog. She's making over 10K a month from that travel blog. And the thing
Wow.
is, she's earning from a variety of sources. She's getting a good amount of traffic. She only has like 120 articles, and she's writing about experiences that she's been on and specific,
Hmm.
maybe a travel tour or a food tour. And I'm pretty sure like the AI tool
Yeah.
can't write that. And I mean,
Hmm.
it can be a tool, and I hear what you're saying. And a lot of people, they want to take the shortcut, but if you really want to do something interesting, like you can't use the AI tool. Like
Yeah.
maybe maybe you can feed it the bullet points. Like if you're not a writer, you could feed it the bullet points and then have it write the prose for you
Hmm.
and use it as a tool. But yeah, I have a tough time like connecting the dots where I'm like, okay, this is like a solution.
Definitely.
So I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, like, but in the case of hers, like, let's say she reviews an ice cream shop, it could definitely help her to like. There's a lot of stuff that's very general to all ice cream shops that Jasper could help write, and then she could fill it in with her very specific like review later. Um,
Right.
if that makes
Yeah, yeah.
sense.
Yeah, a little bit. Although at the same time, I'm like the authenticity that comes through with like her writing and her own images,
Hmm.
I think count for something. But I love the debate because some people they really love these AI tools and it's really helping them out. Where, some people like Monica, like she had a writing background in some capacity. So it's like she naturally like can write quickly and some people
Yeah.
don't, or maybe they want to spend their time on other stuff, which makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay. So what else with Jasper? Are you using Jasper for site number one that we were talking about before? That's making $6,000 a month.
I'll definitely be using it. I haven't had to post as much recently just because of the website migration. That's kind of been tricky, and I've been focusing on that. But once that's ready to go, I'll definitely be adding more content with Jasper. But Jasper and my touch, I guess, so it doesn't get penalized because that
Sure.
would not be good.
What and I know you haven't done it yet, but in your estimation, like how much touch would you want to add? And you could use like percentages or something like that. Like, would you use Jasper to write like 70% of an article and then you would go in and pepper in, the other 30% so that it really is you writing a few sentences here and there?
Hmm. Yeah, don't call Google, but I'd probably want to do like 70 and like I do 30%. Like
Sure.
it seems like I can probably get away with not having to write all of it. And so if I can do that, then that would make my life a lot easier.
Yeah, much faster, especially, like you're saying, you can get like a good foundation and then go in and put in more stuff. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Well, what else with Jasper? Have you used it in other implementations or anything?
They have some other implementations. I don't know if I should really say this, but as a student, you're not supposed to use Jasper. But it's definitely going to be really interesting to see how like schools and teachers do that.
Yeah.
Towards the end of my year, I had a book report to do, and I had Jasper help me write some of it, and I actually got a 90% on it, which is pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely going to
Interesting.
make writing easier. Um,
I
because it's very accurate. So I fed it the book and I looked up like the five principles behind the book and I said, Jasper, like write about these five principles. And it did an accurate job. It found the five principles, it listed them off and what they are, and then it like
good
gave
grief.
solid recommendations about those principles.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, there's that portion of it. And then I know there were services out there where like you could hire someone to write, your 20-page paper that you had to do anyway.
yeah.
But now there will be people that are using Jasper and then they're going to sell the service. It's like double cheating overall. Man,
Yeah. I only did that once, but it was, I don't know, it's kind of crazy how that could definitely become the new thing. Like in high school when teachers give you the book report to do and you don't want to do it. Uh,
I don't even know. Like,
and there's
yeah,
no
I
way to
don't know.
detect it as
Yeah.
plagiarism. It was 100% like unique content.
And even if, again, just using it as a tool and a foundation, like you can get a good start and then put the output into your own words so that it sounds like the rest of the stuff that you've turned in over this semester or whatever. Oh
Hmm.
man, this is a big problem. Do you know if there's actually conversations going on about like how to deal with it or
I don't think so. Not
yeah,
yet.
it'll take a couple years for them to figure it out probably.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
definitely.
Okay, so anything else with this site? Is it or how much content did you publish initially? How are things ranking? What's going on with it?
Yeah, we kind of published it as we went, like maybe a couple articles a week. It has 30 articles so far, and the traffic on Ahrefs usually looks like that. But right now it's just straight up. Like it's such a small
Okay.
time period. It's been like less than a month, and it already has over 100 estimated traffic on Ahrefs. and it
Okay.
was growing pretty fast. Um, a lot of high volume keywords.
Awesome. And you mentioned it's ranking for something like 170 keywords. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay. And
and it's
actually, go ahead.
all AI content. Like, no, I guess, yeah, none of the. It's all, as I said, 70%, 30%, which
Okay.
is pretty crazy.
So the other thing that we can talk about here, which is sort of a side note. So when in the interview prep, I was like, "What's the actual traffic?" Because you said Hrefs is saying it's estimated at 120 or whatever, and you were like, "You know what? I'm not sure." So let's talk about that. Why don't you know the exact traffic number?
I don't know if everyone knows this, but Google is converting from like Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4. Universal Analytics is like super easy. On the homepage, it shows you like page views. But on the new Google Analytics, it like the homepage only shows you users, and even in the report snapshots, it doesn't clearly show you like any trends with the page views. And it's been really hard to navigate, and I haven't had the time to learn it yet. So maybe I'll do that this week since I have no school.
So
Um,
the reason why I wanted to talk about it and expose like we don't I was like I don't know, I haven't looked at it. I mean, I've been getting the emails for like a year to
yeah.
move over, and I dragged my feet because I know I still have more time, and I assumed that it would just be like a new version that had like the same things that we're used to. It
Mm-mm.
blows me away that we're like moving backwards and like nothing's set up. So you were like, there's a handful of sessions. I don't know what it is. You asked me. I'm like, I haven't even touched it. So
Yeah.
hopefully they'll have some sort of cleaner solution by the time we have to move over. But that's the reason
Mhm.
why you're mainly looking at the estimated traffic, and it's ranking for a handful of keywords. Do you know what the top ranking is for any one of the keywords? Just curious.
I think it's in spot 11 for a keyword that has like 5,400 searches per month.
Oh wow. So once that like moves up a little bit. Now for and remember everyone, this site is only 1 month old.
Yeah,
Um
maybe
s-
less than 1 month,
okay.
but yeah,
Yeah.
or about. And it
S-
has zero backlinks,
Okay. No
which is
backlinks.
crazy.
Now for that article, have you gone back and like made it a lot better than whatever the initial piece was?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay.
So maybe that could help it.
Yeah, I
Um,
wonder. I wonder if that would like make it jump, especially, I mean, if it gets if it gets just a little bit higher, maybe it pulls in more long tail keywords and stuff like that.
mhm. Also, one thing that I've seen a lot of people do is like if it's good already, then you just add more content. So maybe that could also be the key. Add like 5 more questions to it
Yep.
about it.
But you haven't done that yet, right?
Mm-mm,
Okay. Cool.
not yet.
All right. What is the plan for this site? Like how much I mean, you've given it to your friend, so they're going to take it over. Yeah, do you know what the plans are?
I would like to see it like come to fruition and probably get like over 100 posts and really understand the experiment of like how well can a site do with all AI content and can Google actually tell? And then I think that they probably plan to monetize through AdSense or like Mediavine. I'm not sure if it's as well for an affiliate site. It's kind of more like a travel site,
Sure.
but eventually they could do something like more affiliate-y.
Yep, for
But
sure.
mhm,
Very cool. Well, you've also been playing around with more experimental stuff.
yeah.
So everyone tread lightly on trying this out, but yeah, walk us through it, Bennett. What have you been testing out? And I'll say you have a sandbox site where you're just testing stuff. You don't want to impact your main site. So what have you been doing?
Mhm. Yeah, so that one I've been using this thing called Article Forge. So I know in past you've talked about like article spinners. So article spinners were like an old, I think 2000s things where it would just auto generate content and the content would be really bad. This is kind of like the next version of that. It's a AI tool. You can put in one keyword or you can put in a bunch of keywords. Like you can put in a mass CSV of your keywords, And then one thing that I actually really love about this is you can connect it to your WordPress site. So what's super cool is that instead of like, as an example on Upwork where people write it and you have to manually go into WordPress and copy and paste it yourself, it's easy, but it's going to take a lot of time to post 100 blogs on your website. This, all you have to do is put in your keywords, um, tell it what site you want to go onto, what category you want it to go onto, how long you want the blog to be, and click compose.
Okay.
And then it'll auto write this and auto publish it to your WordPress website.
Okay.
So I was able to, like last week, I think I posted about like 200 pieces of content to this test website, and I can already see keywords ranking for it. Um, the content's not as good. I mean, it still is fairly good, but I'm a little bit more skeptical that I would get hit with a penalty because it's way easier to see that it's like AI content. Like one factor could be if I publish 200 articles in one day that are all 1500 words long, or the other thing could be like repetition within the content. Like I feel like it's not very good at writing all new content, and there's probably some duplicate stuff in there.
Got it.
Um, mhm.
And how many articles are on the site total? So you published 200 last week.
Yeah, I could not tell you, but probably like I'd say that's the bulk of the articles now. I think I had like 40 or something before.
Okay. Got it. And then you see some of this stuff ranking in just a week. Um, how much traffic is the site getting total, roughly?
On Google Analytics, let's see. Um, I know that on Ahrefs it says like 1,000, but
Okay.
on
That's enough to get us
okay,
going since I didn't tell you to pull that data. So it's getting some traffic. Now, I'm assuming these are pretty long tail keywords. Can you talk about how you found the keywords for this?
yeah, I went on Ahrefs and I found some competitors of mine. One thing I tried to do that I thought would be interesting is like just honestly steal their keywords and see how that goes. And it's pretty interesting. One thing I'm trying is referral keywords. So I know that you've all seen like, oh, like you can use my Cash App link or like you can use my Robinhood link and get money back. So I just did a bunch of those keywords. The only thing that's kind of going to be a pain is if those all start to rank, I'm going to probably have to make it an account for each and sign up, but it should be worth it by then.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Um,
And you said the quality wasn't as good for Article Forge, right?
I think that it's kind of noticeable that like some of it's written by an AI, but I've also had some luck with it. You can do it for informational posts like pretty easily, or you can also do it for like product reviews. But for the product reviews, I actually found that like some of the content was very technical, which was pretty nice.
Okay.
Um, I did a content review on like, let's say it was like some sort of mountain bike, and it went in and it was talking about this specific mountain bike and like the wheel diameter and like some of the more technical specifications. And I had to fact check it, but it turns out those were correct, which is pretty awesome.
And do you know,
So
like, if it passes copy escape or any kind of plagiarism checker? Like, how well does it do on that?
I think I put it in. It looked like it passed, but I'm not sure if it passed the GPT-2 output detector thing that
Okay.
says if it's like real or fake.
Gotcha. And for for this site, what's the goal? Are you like, I'm going to publish like hundreds of articles? I know it's sort of a testing ground, so you're just playing around a little bit.
I think it would be kind of cool to see how far I could take it, like how much content I could put up there and like get traffic for without getting hit by a penalty. But that's also like a fine line of I'm not sure when that's going to happen.
Right. Right.
One other thing is that like I've experienced it where I paid someone $50 on Upwork to write like a really good 2,500 word article, and I post it and wait like a month, and it starts to rank for zero keywords. So one thing I've been doing for Article Forge is like as I post 200 articles, I'll definitely see some indicators of which ones are doing well, and then that actually would be a good way to prioritize like okay, which one should I actually go back and either use Jasper for, or which one should I go back and hire someone or take my time and write. for, because then they're already ranking for a bunch of keywords.
Right. Well, that's interesting because you could use, like you said, Article Forge and then go back and use Jasper. But have you thought about hiring a VA to use Jasper to improve the Article Forge article, for example?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I haven't really thought about that yet, but I'm sure it could be good.
Yeah, because I mean, it sounds like, if, once you understand how to use Jasper, then, a person could go back, like you said, after you prioritize the articles that are kind of doing a little bit better, and then,
Hmm.
fix them up, make sure they don't have the redundant sentences and all that kind of stuff, and then just add more FAQs or something like that. Should work
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah. Where would you suggest hiring a VA from for the listeners?
I I've mostly gone to Upwork, but I've been hearing great things from, I think it's onlinejobs.ph. Have you heard of them?
Mm-mm.
So it's like Filipinos that the exchange rate is favorable, so they get a great salary, and then you're paying a fraction of what you would pay a U.S. or North American based writer. And Filipinos speak really good English, so you probably can find someone and pay them, a really fair rate, and it would be a bargain. So I would maybe look there and spend. I would spend some time on the sort of interviewing process and make sure you get someone good and not compromise on like, this person is good enough, let's just try it, to actually like
Hmm.
go through and spend a few, like several hours, like creating the job posting and going back and forth and making sure you're getting someone that can do the work that you're trying to get them to do. So
Yeah, definitely.
that said, I haven't hired anyone from there, but I've heard good things from multiple people over and over again for the last 2 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So anything else with using Article Forge? So you're just publishing the content straight away and then coming back. You don't do anything else.
Mm-mm. No, like I think some people worry about like imperfection, but someone once said like you want to publish imperfect stuff first, and then like as an entrepreneur, you want to put something out and then come back to it and fix it later. I know some people don't agree with that. If you have a high profile blog, it might not be the right strategy for you because like you already have a bunch of readers.
Right.
But for my blog as a test site, I don't have that many readers, and like they kind of come for the page. So if someone comes to my site for article X, they're probably not going to like stumble upon article Y. Um,
Sure.
but yeah,
That
um,
makes sense. Awesome. Well, yeah, anything else about that last site that I forgot to
um,
ask?
not really. I guess I hope it does well, but it wouldn't be the worst case if it didn't like work out. Or I think it's all just a learning experience at the end of the day.
Yeah. And oh yeah, are you going to monetize just with ads like normal?
Probably ads, Amazon affiliate. Um, Honestly, I think I might try a lot of different routes. Like I've had Bluehost on there, referrals for like things like Cash App or different venues and Fiverr. So we'll see. I think it's also like figuring out what works the best and which one would make me the most money.
Awesome. Well, as we finish up, what advice do you have for someone who is thinking about testing out one of the AI tools? And we'll say Jasper, since that seems to be like the industry standard, the most popular, perhaps the highest quality. Although I haven't tested hardly any of them. But yeah, if someone wants to get started with using Jasper, what steps should they go through? What things should they think about
Hmm.
to be effective?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess first off, they do have like two plans. One's $30 and you get a pretty good deal. The other one's like $60 and it's kind of more not advanced. You get more features and you can do more and write more. But I think it's been worth it. I've been able to definitely write more articles with that. It's saved me from hiring on Upwork, and this way I can write pretty good articles that um, I can still go back and edit, but it's something to put more content on my website and without it, I don't think I would have had as much content. So I would recommend it.
And is it one
Uh,
of those deals where you can get a monthly plan, but if you get the annual, it's like 15% off or whatever?
yeah, something like that.
Okay. And I'd say you use it all the time, right?
Yeah, I've been using it more.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. And any other details with using Jasper as far as like expectations or ways to learn how to use the tool?
They do have like tutorials on there, but it's really intuitive to figure out. Also, if you play around, they do have other different like recipes, is what they call it. But you can do it for things like if you need help writing YouTube titles, if you need help writing Facebook ads, creative stories, and articles. But I think that they're known for their articles.
Okay. Perfect.
But
And I have one more question around it. So let's say, so I haven't used Jasper before,
mhm.
and let's say it's me, so you'll have to go slow and explain it easily. Um, but how much time would I expect to spend like signing up, learning the tool, and maybe getting the first article that's maybe 1,500 words long on kind of a topic area that I'm familiar with so I can kind of write the outline? So, how much time would you tell me to allot to get my first article and all that stuff? And you could talk through it. You know, it's a brand new question. You had no idea I was going to ask. So,
Yeah.
what should I expect?
So for the sign up process, it's pretty easy. It's pretty standard. Like you put in your information, you probably have to verify your email and have the payment. So that probably takes like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long it takes you to find all that information. It's really pretty simple. They have a workflow, so it like you click on the article workflow, it asks you for information like an intro paragraph and keywords. That probably takes 5 minutes to come up with. It'll auto generate your post title. Takes 30 seconds. It'll auto generate your intro paragraph, which takes like 30 seconds. And then for the rest of your article, if you just click compose, that would probably take like 20 minutes. If you're using the paragraph generator, that might be quicker. But honestly, I would say it would probably take 15 minutes to write all the content if you know what the topic is about. But if you have to do research, it'd probably take like 30 minutes because you're spending time like, oh, should I write about this product or this product? Um, but
Okay.
it would definitely save you more time.
And so I'll ask you what I would maybe
The,
try to do, right? So I would
mhm.
maybe do the research ahead of time where I like create an outline first. And that's what I would do if I was writing the content or even hiring a writer. So I would create an outline by doing research on some of the existing content that's already out there and basically look at
Mhm.
the H2 and H3 tags that they're using. And then would that be a really solid start? And then basically I could just say like write a paragraph here for each
Yeah,
one of the subheadings.
that would make it really quick. That'd probably be like 10 minutes max,
Okay. And I could
which
get
is
like
pretty cool.
whatever 1,500 or 2,000 word article.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty cool. One time I did a 5,000 word article in about like an hour
Okay.
with Jasper, which is pretty cool. And I didn't do any of the content outline beforehand. I was
Oh,
doing it
wow.
as I went.
And I think, you know, one approach that I've thought of, and like many things I thought about it, but I never did anything with it, is to hire a VA, like I said, maybe
Hmm.
overseas, and then have them create outlines. All they're doing is research. It's fairly
Okay.
quick, right? Like once you have a pretty good idea on how to do the research, you can probably put together an outline in like 15 or 20 minutes. It's very thorough. And then you could use Jasper and just feed in your outlines, and then you end up with, you know, pretty solid content. I would say, you know, you still probably want to go through and edit it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that sounds like a good plan. But if you don't really know how to do outlines or if you need help, Jasper will do it for you, which is pretty nice.
Right.
Like I click compose and then it has a header. Or like one time I put frequently asked questions and I put like a Q and click compose and then it finished the rest of the question and then it put an A and it answered it and then It's
Okay.
pretty good at being smart and picking up on things,
All right.
which is pretty cool.
And I keep saying final question. Okay. Is there any sort of content where you're like, Jasper's probably not a good tool to use for that kind of content?
I've heard that for product reviews, it's not as good. Like, I've actually used it for product reviews, and it'll give you a very general thing. But I mean, if you're already an expert, I would use Jasper, write that product review, and then go in and add your technical
Hmm.
stuff. Because I think one of the big things that Google's like a ranking factor is word count. So Jasper is definitely going to help you to get that word count up. Then you can go in and put in the human touch
Got
of
it.
like why I actually recommend this product.
It's perfect. All
Mhm.
right. Well, I think that is all I have. Any other parting thoughts, Bennett?
I think I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I was on Reddit asking about the AI content penalty, and one person was like, "How is Google ever going to find out about AI content sites?" And the other person countered with one site. It's called like lizdead.net or something. Basically, on Ahrefs, their traffic went like this over the course of like half a year. They peaked around 5.5 million, and right now they're at 900,000. But they're all AI generated content website. And so, as much as I hate to downplay it, I think Google will get smarter. So, people are going to have to get more savvy or spend more time on trying to beat against this penalty.
Yeah. And do you happen to know? So it went from, pretty crazy amount of traffic to still a sizable amount of traffic. But um,
Hmm.
do you know like how many articles they had or anything like that? Did you ever dive in a little
Um,
deeper?
I think that they had, I can give you an exact number. It's pretty crazy. Um, but,
Well, we don't need an exact
oh,
number
yeah.
because I'm not going to
Yeah. Yeah.
edit this, so we're not going to wait
Oh,
for it.
all right. No problem.
But probably thousands, tens of thousands of articles, something like that. Like it's a ton of content, right?
Yeah, they rank for like 500,000 keywords right now. On Ahrefs, it says they have over 75,000 pages.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and right now, yeah. I'm
Interesting.
pretty sure that they actually no indexed some. I was looking at where did all the traffic fall from? And I was looking at some of their top pages, and I went to the site explorer, like putting in site colon and putting that page, and it's no longer on Google. So I think that is how they combat the penalty. Um,
Uh,
so probably more than 75,000 when they peaked, which is pretty crazy. And their top keywords are what dinosaur has 5,000 teeth? What year is it? Four-sided shapes, animals that live in a lake. So it's pretty random keywords.
that is random. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like a lot of times we'll build these sites with the option of selling them in the future, but with something like that, it's almost like someone's probably not going to buy it and then they were doing something so risky that actually like worked out. It's like they just had to take advantage of it while they could, and now I mean there's still a lot of traffic, but there's a lot of, I guess, waste and garbage, and no one wants to buy something that's like on such a decline,
Hmm.
or very few people.
Should I spell out the actual name, or just you can put it in your link for
Yeah, we'll
people to
put it in
look
the
at?
link. Yeah, put it in the
Okay.
link. Cool. Well, yeah, any other thoughts on the AI content and using it and all that?
I think it's pretty cool. I would use it, but if you're too scared of the penalty or if you have too much to like lose, probably don't do it. Unless you're like using it probably like if you have a really established website, you could probably get away with using like 30% Jasper, just to to make your article word count go up, like for that travel blog you mentioned. But
Right.
um,
Got it.
yeah,
Very cool. Well, yeah, like I said before, everyone tread lightly. If you want to check out the tools, we'll put some links, and whatever site you just mentioned, Bennett, we'll also put it in there. Now, where can people find you? You set up a landing page last time. I assume that's still out
yeah.
there. So you don't have to state the link, but what do you have on the site? What do you offer out there?
Oh, I just have ways to sign up and get in contact with me. But I would connect on LinkedIn if you have any questions.
Cool.
My name is the same as the website.
Awesome. So we'll put the link up for that. And thanks a lot, Bennett. We'll check in a few months to hear how things are going.
All right. Thank you.